Okay, we continue with our asynchronous class. So, how do nucleotides combine to form nucleic acid? But they just bond. We've already talked about it actually. So we have here, these are the molecules really. The molecules for RNAs, and this is for DNAs, parts, chunks of your DNAs and RNAs. So, usually the explanation here is how DNA and RNAs are built in terms of chemical composition. So you have your deoxythymidine, that is your guanosine, adenosine, guanosine, thymine with of course your ribose and your phosphate. Okay, so these are now the one unit. If you're talking about your carbohydrate having the monosaccharides, these are now what is um, like that, the basic units of your nucleic acid. So they are in 4 parts for DNA, 4 parts for RNA. For RNA, that is adenosine, guanosine, uridine. So the uracil now with the phosphate group and the nitrogenous base is, we call it uridine now. And then they again differ for DNA about the thymine. So thymine now um, with the nitrogenous bases and your phosphate group, it is called now the deoxythymidine. Okay, so and then another here, see, this is a portion of your, I think this is a portion of your DNA, portion of RNA, sorry, a fragment of an RNA chain. So an RNA fragment chain, so as you can see, there is the 5 prime terminal, meaning the end prime which is terminal, and then there is a 3 prime terminal. So it's important how the linkage comes, the 5 prime and the 3 prime, and it's also important in how we look what is the ends of your, of course, DNA or RNA. So so for you, for yeah, RNA, you have the uracil, and this whole part now is now the uridine, as you've seen in the reading material. So there is also a what they call this, a simplified naming. Just like your different amino acids, we have one letter name. We also have from our ribonucleic acid again for AGCU. Again, A is, I think, would stand for your adenine, guanine, CG, cytosine, C, U for uracil, and T for thymine. So, and then you have your polymerization, meaning if they already hook up, so you have this representation. Um, of course, you have your representation, just like we have representation on how we draw our molecules. We also have representation on how we draw the big molecules, the biomolecules. So this one, some books use or authors use this one. So you have P, G, P, A. So I guess the P is the bonding site, the phosphate, phosphate G, phosphate A, phosphate C, and then you can simply write it without the P. So it is again still valid. Some authors use this one. For example, you have this somewhat um, polynucleoside or somewhat oligonucleoside, meaning not so very long. So you have the GACAO here. So meaning it's a chain of nucleo nucleosides of guanosine, adenine, cytosine, adenine, and uracil for an RNA. Okay, so just read those. Uh, this one is a portion of your DNA. So again, the difference only on the cytosine, no, the thymine side. The thymine is you have uracil for your RNA. Okay, so then it has 3 prime, 4 phosphodiester. So again, the 3 prime is on this oxygen while it bonds to the phosphorus on the 5 prime. See, this is the 5 prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have your 5. So it has something to do with numbering of your, again, your organic or your carbon. Okay, So that's what the numbers are. And then you have here a biochemical connection. Who owns your gene? This is a story about the patenting, uh, having patents for the genes. So as I've read, so you have also to read. You also have to read. Um, this is a malady actually, especially nowadays, because some genes are really patented. That's why it's the um, first word that you can say here, that it says here. There is a gene in your body cells that plays a key role in early spinal cord development. So in the development of your spinal cord, there is a gene, a body cell that belongs, that belongs, if you say you have a patent, it belongs to someone else, whoever owns the patent actually. So that gene actually belongs to Harvard University because one of its researcher patented that gene. So if you read this one, you will see the malady. Who owns your genes? If it is your genes, why would it be owned by someone? The term owning actually is the problem here because when you say that gene is patent, meaning you cannot study it more without the approval of those holding the patent. Of course, those holding the patent might ask for remuneration, of course, maybe for informations, maybe for just the patent, royalty fees. Just like we look at videos, most of the fee that we are paying is of course for the royalty fee. Okay, so that also is true um, for your somewhat your genes. So that's why this is a case between case. So I highlighted it belongs to someone else, and you have the human cells have about 24,000 genes, and then 20% nowadays. This is now not nowadays. That's up to 2006. 20% of the 24,000 genes of a human cell. So that particular, we have a lot of cells, but a human cell, different kinds of cell, but it only holds the same genetic makeup. So the fact that it is a heart cell or probably because that part of your body, the cell is just producing what type of compounds or proteins does it need to be a heart cell. Okay, but all in all, the human cells have about 24,000 genes. And 20% of those genes are already owned by someone, by a patent. So again, if patents are already owned by it, there are restrictions in, of course, obtaining information or studying or even just production, whatever, whatever you do to the genes, there is, of course, someone who has the right because that's what the patent says. You can be imprisoned, of course, without the due process of paying royalties and all of that. And then I also highlighted can be patented. What can be patented? So it's not really you. If that 20% is inside your body, I mean, of course, you cannot be patented. But what can be patented, as I highlighted, what can be patented actually is the purified DNA. Of course, in order to understand them, we have to isolate them from the body because we cannot uh, study them in the body. We have to probably replicate them or get them from the body and isolate them. So in isolating, you are always purifying them so that you can you can study them on this their basic nature as they are. So that's why um, what can be patented is a purified DNA containing the sequence of gene. But of course, if that is the basic DNA structure, of course, you cannot just study the basic, or you cannot know more without the basic. Just like a house, you cannot build foundation without your foundations. Of course, you cannot build your roof without your foundation. So that means um, those that owns the foundation really owns that building. That's what it says. Okay. So to make the situation as clear as possible so that we are on the right page. So there's actually the first one to be patented actually is in the first actually patent of genes is by I think it is mentioned here in 19 something 1972 by Chakrabarty. So of course he or she, that is a girl, a lady or a doctor from the GE engineer. So usually the big companies has engineers, especially those pharmaceutical companies. Maybe a gene engineer, probably a whatever engineer. Uh, of course, on the genes, probably. So or maybe probably a research and development team. So owns that patent if he or she was the one who filed that patent, of course, under probably the GE company because she is under still the GE. Okay, so that was the first, and then the in favor of Chakrabarty, meaning Chakrabarty won. He won in the lawsuit that genes can be patented. That's why it started. He won in of course the US because the US actually is um, on the first hand in doing these things. So and then time comes up to now that there are already so many that 20%, and another case came into being that now favors the not patenting the genes. So because of course there are a lot of researchers just in search of knowledge that they would be hampered or they would be blocked on how they explore the genes or know the genes without those who have the royalties. So they now in there is actually a date in 2005. There is another lawsuit that was filed. I think it's up till 2010, wherein the other party now won. The the party now that is more on education. Actually, if in my point of view, I'm more to this type because really I'm not on the patenting. It's not that I'm against with patent, but you only have meaning. We only have to um, maybe uh, do it better so that it will cater a more an environment that will cater, of course, because the argument really are strong for those who goes on the patent, of course, for remuneration, not for themselves but for the remuneration of the project. For a project, of course, to run, just like the research is to run, it needs finances. And how can you find finances if you don't have patents? Because the patents now will now generate money, of course, not just maybe from yourself, but those who will finance probably your research. So that's on the other side. But on the other side, of course, they might be true. So I think there should be somewhat a good how we will deal with these big reasons. The other reason, of course, on the research, because of course, if you're a researcher, you're just you and you're passionate about research, you will be really be hampered if what you are learning is somewhat restricted, because you might be handcuffed because of what you're doing. Probably you may be paying a lot of fines because of just studying. So and that's also a good argument. Okay. So anyway, it's up to the law to decide. But for me, on my case, I'm more on the knowledge part. Um, if that knowledge should be given so that we would advance, because we cannot really advance without many brains, without brains, not just money but with brains, but they are both valid. We cannot advance without money, we cannot advance without brains, but I am more on the brain side because of course on the brains you will not be restricted by just big pharmaceutical companies. As long as you have the brains, you have probably somewhat a what do you call this, a compromised setup, as long as you're doing the right thing ethically, because now it is the ethics should come. Why? Because this is now talking about the human genes, part of us. So I don't know with you, but you have to read actually, so that your eyes would be opened how are we now. And then you have the structure